arrogant, throwing fits, ripping shit, tearing it, imperative. Then I'm killing this mic no matter where I live. These derelict rappers acting the fool, this embarrassing, is flagrant. That's the nature of this entertainment, and we can't even change it. Guilty before arraignment, now the system tainted. But when we speak, they all laugh at us. And y'all wonder why I'm lacking trust. Try to fight a giant with attorneys that can back them up. That's church versus science, both sides start acting up. I'm late on my assignment, hopping up a mile high, climbing, obviously never silent. New alignment, I'm defined, cannot describe it. Used to describe it as a young graffiti artist. Before the beard, I always got carded. At every bar, even though my bar has been the hardest. The scars on my face said I ain't always been the smartest. But I'll show you where my heart is. I said I'll show you where my heart is. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve, even if the beat stops my soul.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Tuesday. Wonderful Tuesday. Hanging with the fellas, little sports nonsense and whiskey. Come enjoy it. Come relax. Fellas, how we doing this evening? Pinky, Robert?
That's Pinkhausen. Pinkhausen.
Oh.
Pinkhausen.
He adopted a new name.
Oh.
Pinkhausen.
Needs to update his handle now.
I do.
I'm just still reveling in the fact that the Mall TV show is just chef's kiss. It's beautiful.
Is it over already?
No, screw you, Pinky. It just started.
Threw up a post here a couple hours ago now, I guess, that was ranking all the Star Wars TV shows. First comment. Told us we should stick to sports and Andor was trash.
Oh.
And I was like, starting off fire. All right, here we go. I like it. And it's from somebody who comments quite a bit with us. So
did you tell them your opinion is duly noted?
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But he said there was basically 20 boring episodes to get 4 good episodes. And he would rather watch Ewoks or the Christmas special. It's a bold take.
Wow.
Whoa, easy. I gotta find this comment. Let's go.
I gotta say, that's intense.
Yeah.
What's up, Haley?
I also said, it is my opinion, but whatever. Skeleton Crew is the worst. It's at the very bottom.
No.
The only redeeming thing about that entire show is the fact that the planet is like this super secret, awesome key potential that you could go further with. Outside of that, they completely whiffed on the Goonie thing, and Skeleton Crew was not good. I didn't like it. But anyways, that was a bit of a surprise. I was not expecting that. But hey, everybody's gonna like what they like. But Maul, my goodness.
And we got 10 episodes, and it's been renewed for season 2 already. Oh yeah!
I mean, like we said, we already know how it ends, guys. We already know how it ends.
And it ends gloriously. It's a very poetic ending. Like I am not even mad. The way he dies in Rebels is just beautiful. It couldn't have been done. It could have been better. Could not have been better. But that's that. We're getting too far into the nonsense to start, and we've got a very spicy topic. That's your
fault, Robert.
I didn't bring it up. Well, I did actually. I said I reveled in it. He asked how I was doing. That's what I said. I wasn't expecting to go down a rabbit hole. I'm sorry.
Keep it up, Robert.
I'll curse you first, Pinky.
You both better watch her. I'm gonna start talking really good things about both of you.
Oh, don't threaten me with a good time.
Wait, say what?
Yeah.
You're talking about curses. I mean, I'm just saying. If you guys don't watch it, I'm going to say a bunch of really good things, and then we'll see what happens.
Well, as we wait for our golf expert to join the show, what do we want to talk about? I'll Cody Road you. What do you want to talk about?
I mean, we're just shooting the breeze for a little bit until we can get to the Masters if they're able to join. Some technical difficulties, people. We'll see what happens. I'll throw this out there for you, Pinky, since you're wearing the Danhausen shirt. I love Pat McAfee turning heel and being with Randy Orton and the RKO situation. I hate the fact that by all accounts, it sounds like the only reason he's there is because TKO wanted him there and had nothing to do with WWE creative, which tells you everything you need to know about WWE and its current status since
So-
TKO took over.
Here's the problem with the Pat McAfee. I like Pat McAfee. So Pat McAfee's awesome. I enjoy his show. I do think his show was better before he got paid. He's kind of his character on his show now is a little bit too much for me, but regardless, the heel turn for Pat McAfee works perfectly fine if you had done this weeks ago. We are
Right.
10 days from WrestleMania. 10 days. And you're throwing this on us now? And Randy Orton's been on the phone with somebody for weeks. Pat McAfee's on the phone. Ron and I talked about it on Smack Talk and Raw. You could have had The Rock. I said you could have had Stone Cold. What if Stone Cold shows up in the ring? And
Well, yeah, but those guys have to want to be involved too, and I don't think any of them want any part of what's going on right now.
Well, there's that. I'm just saying from a story perspective, if you're going to have somebody kick Cody Rhodes in the nuts and talk about bringing back the Attitude Era and talking about like putting butts in seats, right? Stone Cold could do that. The Rock can do that. There's guys that have that gravitas that like it makes sense. Pat McAfee talking about that. Yeah, he was a kid during the Attitude Era, so that's cool. But like it just doesn't quite work. So most of the internet community is upset about it. I'm upset about it. They better pay it off somehow really well, or it's going to be just. We talked about it. They currently have Pat McAfee, IShow Speed, Jelly Roll, and Little Yachty.
Yeah,
all
that's what
involved
TKO's doing. Bring in
WrestleMania.
big famous people, and they think that's going to put butts in seats. They really, truly do not understand the product whatsoever. Somebody who does understand the product, though, and knows exactly what they're doing year in and year out would be Augusta National. And with that being said, we are going to bring on our boy, the one, the only, the best there is, Mr. Cotton Chase himself. How you doing, good sir?
What up, dudes? How are we,
Glad
fellas?
to have you join us, buddy.
Glad
Welcome,
to be
welcome.
here. Glad to
So,
be here. It's that time of year again.
It is. It is that time of year. We got the part 3 starting tomorrow. First round starts Thursday. Augusta, Azaleas in the air. What are we thinking here, good sir? Where do you want to start?
Oh man. Well, I mean, we're back at Augusta, right? This is arguably the #1 golf event for most avid golfers and watchers. You know, the weather is going to be absolutely perfect, which is, you know, a solid bonus, especially considering, you know, last week here in Texas, you know, they're dealing with severe weather and, you know, guys getting in rhythm, getting out of a rhythm. Now they're in a delay. They got none of that to expect. The course is pristine. It's going to be a fun week.
Are there is there any talk this year of course changes? I know a couple years back they lost all those trees and kind of they had to reconfigure some things, if you will, in the way the layout looked. And have they done anything updating wise for the course this year, or is it roughly the same as we've seen the last couple?
It's going to be roughly the same. You know, we're at 7,200 here, par 72. You know, the guys are going to be a little bit more familiar with the course, which is, you know, is going to be extremely necessary for a winner. You know, there was a thing I was reading because so much of this new talent that's coming out, you know, they could win any tournament, all these young guys. But I was reading that no first-time player at Augusta has won since like Fuzzy Zoeller in like 1974. So we've got, I think, 22 guys in the field that this is their first time ever playing Augusta. And, you know, a lot of them talk about it as an opportunity. A lot of them talk about it as a curse. But, you know, Augusta is one of those courses that it pays to have experience on the course. And I think you're going to see that with the leaderboard this week.
I like that. So you talk about experience at Augusta. You look at the field. What about Augusta and the fact that it's basically the same course year in and year out causes people such difficulty, even for those that have played it on a regular basis?
Well, I mean, it's the Masters, baby. If this is the Super Bowl for these guys, and so there's a little bit of added pressure. And on top of that, it's only the top 50 that make the weekend. So, the competition is going to be stiff, and if you don't start hot, chances are you're not going to make it to the weekend. So, there's that added pressure. And the other thing is that there's no slouches in the field, right? Like, you're going up against the top gun of golf. This is the best of the best. So, there's a lot of pressure on these guys to perform well, because not only for themselves, but for their peers, there's a lot to prove at Augusta. And the thing is, once you've got that green jacket, man, you've proven it.
I love that. So you talk about starting hot. Somebody that is notorious for not doing so and cost themselves many an opportunity for a green jacket finally broke through last year. Where are you thinking Rory sits as we go into the weekend and what he does to get kicked off?
Rory is kind of a wild card for me this week. I've watched some interviews with him, and now that he's got it done, I don't think there's any pressure for him to go out and win again. He proved it. He's got the Grand Slam. So the pressure on him is not going to be near as great as it has been in the past. I think he's just going to go out there and he's going to play his best and take it all in as the reigning champion. I don't expect him to, be leading the field if I shouldn't say if, when he makes the cut on the weekend, because he will. He's Rory McIlroy. We'll see if he's at the top of the leaderboard. You can never bet against Sunday Rory to either climb or significantly drop. But again, there's not that added pressure this year for him. So, I think he's going to go out there. I think he's going to have a good time. I don't think he's going to put a lot of pressure on himself. I personally am not picking him for a lot of lineups because I just don't see the motivation there for him. I think this is kind of be a stroll for him, and he's just going to take it all in and enjoy it without all the added pressure that he's had in past years.
Okay. Two guys that I feel like do have quite a bit of pressure in completely different ways. Where do you see the world number one, Mr. Scotty Scheffler, ending up as the weekend unfolds, seeing as how he's coming in struggling a little bit, even going back to the end of last year, really, and trying to find his swing again? And then what about Brooks Koepka coming back to tour, Mr. Major himself there for a time period? Does coming back to tour allow him to start getting back to where he keeps talking about wanting to be?
Absolutely. I know. First of all, I think our definitions of Scotty struggling, it might be a little bit different. So Scotty's one of those guys this season in particular. He has not started hot. He hasn't started tournaments well. He's been towards the bottom, sometimes making the cut, and then still ends up at the top of the leaderboard on Sundays. So, he withdrew last week. His wife had their second kid, Roni, something like that.
I can't remember, but I know 9 days old will be at the first tee on Thursday.
At the tournament, dude. He's already in the stroller, getting pushed around and everything. So, I think that's going to be some added motivation for Scotty to win, right? Like, got to win for the new kid. But at the same time, like, he withdrew last week for the birth of his son in Texas, which he would have been a favorite to win had he played.
That was Valero, right? Valero,
yeah, in San Antonio, and but he did just have that kid. He did say, like, my wife's been great, my team's been great, I've been getting plenty of rest. But like, as any new dad, that like that's really not true.
Yeah.
So, but he is the number one player in the world. You can't bet against him. But if he starts slow on Thursday, it's like I said, he's playing against the cream of the crop this year, and no doubt he's going to make the cut. But I am for the price of Scotty, I don't see a lot of value there. Because he's not coming in super hot. Of course, he's the number one player, but with all those other factors that I mentioned, I'm not super heavy on Scotty this year. New kid, sure, he wants to play well for him, but he's not coming in super hot like you mentioned. And then who was the other cat that you asked about?
Koepka, with him coming back to tour
Koepka.
and getting out of live.
So Brooks has been showing some forms of old Brooks, some greatness there in the past. If he can get that putter rolling and kind of stay out of his head, Brooks is one of those players that's really hard on himself. He already plays pretty quick anyways, but if he starts struggling, he speeds that up even more. So that's going to be another one of those where like he's going to need a hot start for the confidence. But Brooks has been coming into his own for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Brooks, with the top 10, top 15 this week.
I like that. Who would you? Oh, go ahead, Pinky, please.
I've got a question for the master here. What tends to be more important for these guys? Is it experience at Augusta, or like how they're currently playing? What seems to give them success?
There's a combination of both there, Pinky. The experience always helps at Augusta. There's a lot of these greens have some crazy undulations, and guys aren't shooting anywhere near the pin because they know where it lands is not where it's going to end up, right? And so that experience really, really helps. But if you're coming in on kind of a slump, the experience doesn't really matter if you can't hit your target, right? So that said, there's a couple of guys that kind of really check both those boxes. The first one I'm going to talk about is Hideki Matsuyama. He's a former winner here in 2021. He has cashed in his last 11 straight trips at Augusta, which, tells you he knows the course very well. And, there are times that he shows up not in great form. This is not one of those times. He is showing up in great form. Like I said, he cashed in the last 11 starts there, but 9 of those were a top 25. Like, it's not like he's just barely making the cut. The guy shows up to play every single time. And he's in pretty good form showing up. Another one that is showing up really hot right now, not on the PGA Tour, is going to be Bryson DeChambeau. This dude is one of the hottest golfers on the planet right now, regardless of what tour that you're playing in. He's won the last 2 tournaments that he's played in. He fares very well at Augusta. Last 2 appearances were T5, T6. I think Bryson's kind of coming into his own. He's kind of proved that he's a great player. And, I think he's going to go out there and he's going to light it up this week.
He's got two Grand Slams, right?
Right.
He's got a U.S. Open and a PGA or a British.
Oh, majors. I was like 2 Grand
majors,
Slams.
Grand Slam. I'm thinking tennis all of a sudden. I apologize. Majors. Wow.
Wrong sport. Yep. He's got 2 of them.
I'm thinking, 4 Grand Slams, 4 majors. Don't know where that. Yeah, my bad. So he's got 2. You talk about T5 and T6. That's not just T5 and T6 though. That was him in the hunt on Sunday afternoon fading. So it's not like he was in contention for both of those, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So do you bring him up as somebody that's kind of checking those boxes for you? Do you see him as, I don't want to say the favorite because it's Augusta and that usually doesn't go over that well unless it's Tiger Woods in his prime. But do you see him as being one of the favorites heading into the tournament? Because I've heard, and granted it's the same old heads talking about the disdain they have for anybody that's not on tour, But you get guys like Chambly and all of them going, well, I haven't even seen him do anything except for his YouTube. And it's like they can't find a good word to say about him. Where do you see Bryson in the bigger scheme of things?
You know, let the haters hate. I was one of them for a while. I was Bryce. You know, he was the scientist, and he had to do everything so much different than everybody. So, and you know, that was him. I think trying to prove, you know, I'm different. And at this point, he's just kind of accepted who he is and put it out there. And the YouTube, I think, has actually really helped his game on the course mentally. You know, more people realize, hey, he is one of us. He hits it really far. He's got some science, you know, that backs what he does. Some of his stuff is really mechanical. So it's, you know, I hate Bryson's swing. I think it's really ugly looking, but it's effective. And he embraces it, you know. So you know, let the haters hate. Like I said, the dude's won the last 2 tours stops that he's played on. Like he's a phenomenal golfer. And you know, YouTube aside, you know, he was a great golfer when he was on the PGA Tour. He got a lot of hate for moving to live. But, you know, if he came back to PGA Tour similar to Brooks, I think there would be a very warm welcome and the hate would die down a little bit with him.
Bryson's so unique because I don't think there are many that dislike him anymore. I think they talk ill of him because he's on live, but I don't think they dislike him anymore. He almost went from kind of the villain on tour to now I think you're right. If he came back, I think he'd be beloved. But I don't ever see that happening because they're never going to let him do all the extracurricular that live lets him do, like YouTube and everything else.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's a little further down the road. And honestly, for Bryson, like I think he enjoys where he's at in his career. I don't see him wanting to give up all the, you know, like you said, the benefits that he gets with live when he still has the bonus of playing in, you know, the Masters tournament, you know, and some of the other majors that he is allowed to play in. So, you know, he gets the best of both worlds. Good for him, man. And he's playing really good golf. I expect really good things out of Bryson this week.
What would it mean if he won the Masters?
To who?
That's a good question.
That's a bold statement, Cotton.
That's a good question. Let's start with Augusta National. What would it mean at Augusta National?
I mean, you've got to recognize that he is one of the best in the world, regardless of what tour he's playing on. And at that point, you have to admit that maybe this week's best golfer doesn't play on the PGA Tour. You know, and I think it would make the PGA Tour reconsider some other things, you know, maybe allowing some of these other live golfers to play in some of the signature events and some other things, because obviously if they can be competitive, why not? You know, I think, like we've said, a lot of the PGA Tour guys, they hate on him, but I don't think there's a lack of respect there. I think they, you know, if he wins, they would be like, yeah, I hate him because he's better than me. And he's making more money on the live tour that sucks, his golf tour. Like, there's a lot of things to hate about it, but at the same time, like, if the guy pulls out the win, you know, you've got to respect it.
There's another live golfer that does have a green jacket that
Jon
I'm
Rahm.
curious. Yeah. How do you feel he's looking going into this tournament?
Well, Jon Rahm is always going to be a force to be reckoned with at Augusta. Like you said, he is a previous winner, 2023, 3 years ago. So it's still, you know, somewhat fresh there. He's another one of those guys like Hideki where he is just clutch at Augusta. You know, he rises to the occasion, but he also knows the course very well. He's 9 for 9. You know, he's going to compete. He's going to make the cut, and you're probably going to see his name on the leaderboard on Sunday. You know, that guy's always got a chance. He's super competitive. You know, and again, I think for some of these live guys, like they've done it enough times that it's not so much they're proving like our tour is greater than yours. It's for them, it's still more of a respect thing with the players. Like, I'm still going to go out there and beat you regardless of the tour that I play on. And, again, you're going to get some hate from the public, but, from the tour players, they want to play against the best, and that is John Rahm, especially at Augusta.
Absolutely. So you've given us a couple names: Matsuyama, DeChambeau. We've talked about a few others in Rory, Koepka, Rahm. Give me 3 names that, either they're people that you would expect to see at the top of the leaderboard or an underdog that you see playing really well that you expect to be there Sunday afternoon. Going through Amen Corner that you think are going to be competing at that turn.
Yeah. Great question. 3 names is going to be tough because there's a lot that should be there, but
Okay.
Ludwig Oberg, the Swede, this dude is on fire right now. He is young. I had mentioned that no first timer since Fuzzy in 74 has won the Masters. His first time playing it, he was T2, runner up. Last year, I think he was like 6th, 7th, something like that.
Sounds about right.
So he's only played it twice. He's a younger dude on the tour. But he does have a couple years at Augusta under his belt, and he comes in here super hot. Top 5s in the last 3 starts. Has been, at the top of the leaderboard. He's fallen apart on Sunday. If you can say fall apart from going to T5 from T3 or whatever, but he had a chance. He was in the mix, and the putters kind of let him down. So, I think if the putter can be hot for Oberg, expect to see him at the top in contention for sure. Super hot. Cameron Young is another one that is not a super popular name, but he's another guy super hot right now. Won TPC Sawgrass a few weeks back. He's had a couple of top 10s at Augusta. The dude's a gamer for sure. So he's a long hitter. Great short game. I expect to see him towards the top for sure. And then kind of an oldie but a goodie. We talked about quick starts at Augusta. Justin Rose. He's an old man, but the dude is still competing with the best of them. And I had read that in his last 8 starts, he was the first round leader 4 of those times. So he starts hot. If he's playing, there's a chance that on the first day he's going to be on the leaderboard. And if he's on the leaderboard the first day, he's going to make the cut. And if he's going to make the cut, there's a good chance he's going to be in contention on Sunday. He's been in really good form this year, and great past form at Augusta. So I expect him to be up there. I don't see him being owned in a lot of the DraftKings weekly events. So I'm definitely going to push him into the lineup.
I like that. That's a good one. All right, a couple more questions here. Give me your if all the crazy happened, this guy could find himself with a green jacket at the end of the weekend. The underdog, the unexpected, or the guy that you would really love to see that people may not be talking about.
I have a good feeling this week about Akshay Bhatia. So this dude, he's been on tour a couple of seasons. He recently won at Bay Hill. He's 2 for 2 at the Masters. Not a well-known household name by any chance. I would be willing to bet Pinky had no idea who that was when I mentioned that name. Like most people that watch golf, he's definitely hot and trending. and he's not going to be super expensive on that list. Someone that I would love to see pull it out is going to be Xander Schauffele. He has a few podium finishes at the Masters, but he's never got his green jacket. He's always performed really, really well there. So he is chasing the third leg of the career Grand Slam. Like, I would love, Xander's a great guy. All the guys on tour like him. I would love to see that story happen for him, and would love to see him get closer there for sure. And then one kind of last one that similar to Justin Rose that has been on tour for a long time is going to be Adam Scott. He has been performing pretty well as of late.
He gets to use the belly putter at Augusta, doesn't he? Doesn't he bring that back out at Augusta?
No, he plays with that always, but the belly putter is illegal. So they hold it here where it's like
really
a little
different. Yeah.
chest.
That's what it is.
But it's still the pendulum swing thing going on. But he's been playing really well, in good form. The older he gets, somehow he still manages to keep up with top 10 in swing speed, and like he's still crushing it, like top 10 off the tee. He's been super accurate. Like I said, lots of experience on this course. So I think a lot of people write off kind of the older guys because there's so much young talent that really has the firepower to win any given week. But on Augusta, prior experience really helps, and I wouldn't be surprised to see one of the older guys take it.
I like that. What is your favorite thing about Augusta National, the Masters, the weekend? What's at the top spot for you?
I mean, I can't say that there's one top spot, but the Masters as a whole, right, is such a cool event because there's nothing else really like it. I know that you love the par 3, and which there's no other tournament where families are bringing out their entire family to play on that thing and have their kids hit, and it's a really cool, unique experience for the whole family from that aspect. One of the longest running tournaments at the same venue forever. It has so much historic value. And then, you see that amen corner, like, even if you don't watch golf, you see it and you're like, oh, I've seen that on an American Express commercial, or like I've seen that somewhere. And it's on Sunday I turned that on and it's like, man, I might just like tune into the ESPN Plus, like just Amen Corner, and just watch that for a little while, because I don't know what it is that's so special about it, but the shot shapes that they have to land just right.
Absolutely.
It's exciting stuff. And then
going over the bridge
going over the bridge, and the traditions of last year's winner putting the green jacket on the New Year's winner. Like there's just so much tradition around it, and like I said, it's the best of the best. It's the Top Gun of golfers, and so it's not like I have no idea who the bottom tier guys are. It's like, no, everybody that's playing in this tournament, because it's hard to get into it, and so it's like I said, it's kind of like the Super Bowl of golf. It's an exciting week because there are just the best players at one of the best, most historic, fun courses to watch at.
You completely dodged that question, but it was a very acceptable answer. So well done, sir. Go ahead, Pinky.
You're muted.
What an amateur.
Hey, I just didn't want to talk some crap, but all right. Cotton, tell the people. We all know the Masters are famous for having the best concession prices in the game. If you were at the Masters in Augusta, how many glizzies could you put down?
Well, like you said, the bank account would allow me to put as many down as I could, because they're like $1.50, right? They're super cheap out there. It depends how many Michelob Ultras I've had. I think if I had been out there for a few hours, hovering at 6, 7 of those bad boys, I'm sure I could take down like 8, maybe
we do a
9. Are we
9?
talking with bun or without bun?
You got to do with bun. Can we do a 9 for 9 challenge? A hot dog and a beer every 2 holes?
Oh my god.
I mean, that sounds pretty great, and honestly doable considering that lasts about 4 hours. I think I could.
It's a regular round of 18. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, totally. I mean, the beer is not the issue.
Although I'll tell you right now from experience, I'm not letting Cotton drive.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Otherwise,
you don't let Cotton drive. You don't let John Elway drive.
Or Tiger
put
Woods
my ass out in
apparently.
the golf cart. He has sent me rolling 30 yards down the hole. So I will not be.
But did you die? But did you die?
Zach and Shane thought I did.
No, he tucked and rolled. It was fine. Shouldn't have been hanging out in the golf cart.
You told me to pick up the ball.
Yeah, well, shouldn't have listened to me.
Lesson learned. Don't listen to Cotton.
All right, last
well,
question.
It was also
for the
Caleb's birthday, so I think we had taken down at least 9 beers.
Oh, if I was sober, I would have been in the hospital. Let's just put that
Very
out there
true.
right now.
Very true.
Yeah, good times. Good times. Final question. Give me your winner and their score.
The winner and their score.
Ooh, easy.
That's.
I'll throw this out there. I don't necessarily have a winner, but I do feel 12 under is where we're heading this year for some reason.
I mean, I think that's extremely attainable. Like I said, the weather is gonna be great.
It'll dry out by Sunday, though, right? So it'll dry out by Sunday. Those greens are going to be treacherous, to say the least.
It'll be faster than they have typically been on Sunday, and they're already going to be really fast, anyways. So who's going to be the winner? That is just such a tough question because, like I said, there is so much firepower here. But because of recent form and past experience here, I am going to go with Ludwig Oberg. I didn't want to say that because now Chris Johnson, Statman, the guy that's supposed to be on here, knows what my play is, but maybe I'm lying, maybe I'm not. But for this podcast, I'm going to go with Ludwig Oberg. And the dude has been so hot. Like I said, like T3, T4, T5 in the last 3 starts. He's been at the very top of the leaderboard. So much firepower. Second place his first time. I think 4th place the second time. The dude is primed to go off. And if he can get hot, he can get hot. I'm going to be bold and say 14 under.
I like it.
I think he's got it. If he can drop the putt, they're in. Pinky, what do you got?
One last fun question for you. So if you got to take, you can pick any 3 dudes, friends, athletes, stars, entertainers, and go play Augusta. Just you 4. Who you rolling with?
Well, clearly Tiger Woods. And he's probably not walking, and I'll hire him a driver for the car, or maybe I'll be the driver. I'll be the driver. He can't get any more hurt in the passenger seat than what I would do.
What a terrible combination of people in a cart with a steering wheel.
You might need a driver.
It would be incredible. So obviously Tiger's gonna be in the cart with me. My dad's gonna be in the cart with me.
Ron has to be there.
Taught me how to golf, and And so he's actually played Augusta before, so it wouldn't even be his first time, of course. And I got 2 more to pick, huh? I'm sorry, I'm not going to pick any of my boys.
No,
It's
you only have one
definitely-
spot though left. I totally respect that, but it's you and 2 dudes. You only have one more spot left.
Well, then it's Michael Jordan, I guess.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with as much money as I humanly can. I might
Bring money.
pull out a third mortgage on my house. Because I know that he's going to want to gamble, and when else am I going to be able to gamble with MJ on the course at Augusta with Tiger Woods? Are you kidding me? Come on now.
Tiger could spot you.
Legit, I would love to be a fly on the cart for that foursome, because your dad with those 2 guys would be primetime entertainment.
Playing barefoot at Augusta, yeah, I'll put a little
The Wessels in their
I'll put
bare feet.
a little camera on my top button there.
So,
and
Cotton, do you not
live
believe in
stream it.
shoe prisons or foot prisons?
Well, the thing is, Pinky, when you're a good golfer and you hit the ball in the fairway, you don't really need shoes. The fairway is perfectly manicured. It's only when you're hitting out into the rough and into the shit where you have to worry about, pricklies getting into the feet. But if you're just staying in the short grass, even if you go on the beach, it feels pretty good between your toes. So
Caleb, bring those
yeah,
shoes.
Oh, believe
prefer-
me. He's driven me into this shit plenty of times. My shoes stay on a golf course.
Yeah. Well, to each their own, I guess. I'll bring you a towel. You can just, rub them off.
I might play with
Cotton,
Cotton, but I don't have the same level of skill set at this moment in time. So I do a lot more exploring than he does.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. Exploring. Caleb brings his scuba gear and his bathing suit. And his Patagonia and some hiking boots.
I don't hunt for balls. You know better. I drop and play. We go. It's gone.
That's true.
Move on.
Ready golf,
Give me the pen.
baby.
Give me another shot. Let's keep moving.
Hey, but I never give you worse than an 8, so there's that.
Yeah, it's kind. And sometimes I actually do play well, so it evens out.
That's true.
Any final thoughts for the good sir here?
I expected you to bring up the par 3 a lot more because that's your favorite thing. But once again, I'm just going to go ahead and say that whoever wins that is not going to win the Masters.
I want that to happen so badly.
I know you do, and I hate to burst your bubble every year, but every year it's the same thing. So
I've been listening to this guy for 5 freaking years talk about the par 3.
It's seriously one of the coolest events in all of sports. I don't know how you don't have it in that category. Just everything that goes into it, the families, the generations. It's just a really cool event. That I don't know what else to say. But I figure we've talked about it in years past. Decided I would focus on the tournament this year. But I'll be watching it tomorrow. I love it. I just think it's a really cool, and name another sporting event that has anything remotely close to that. Any sport. I don't know of one. So I think that's another reason why I like it so much, is because it's just so unique in the highly competitive professional sports atmosphere. You don't usually see that family-oriented, slow play, have fun day associated to these events for anything else. So there you go.
Nah, because them kids gotta pay. I'm just kidding.
Caleb's going to have his white jumpsuit on tomorrow, sitting on the couch.
Yep. 100% he will.
You telling me all I got to do is rock a white jumpsuit and I can walk around the course? Done.
Done, dude. All day.
All right, Cotton. We appreciate you a ton. More than welcome to stick around if you don't have anywhere else to go and chat it up. By all means, you know that. You're always welcome. But we'll hopefully schedules line up a little better this year than they did last year. And we'll be able to get you on for the majors this year. Hopefully Chris will be able to get on and chat it up with us a little bit too. But First one
We'll
comes
do it.
up here starting tomorrow.
All right, my dudes. Good to chat with you. I'm out of
See
here.
ya.
Later, buddy. Good seeing you.
All right.
Always fun.
Cotton is a good guy. It sucks that he moved to Texas. All right. We had ourselves a pretty awful game yesterday, but we had the right outcome.
It was not a great game, unfortunately.
I was watching wrestling and just paying attention to it on my phone. So, but the people I know that did watch it all were like, you saved yourself from that god awful game because it was pretty bad. So,
it was rough. It was rough. I truly believed that each team had an opportunity to put themselves into elite company in the sense that winning that game in certain ways could have allowed them to etch their names, if you will, into one of the greatest teams of all time. If UConn had won, they would have beat Michigan State, Duke, Illinois, Michigan. 4 teams in 4 consecutive games that everybody had as potential winners of the tournament. I cannot think of another situation like that happening in my lifetime. There might be one, and I didn't go back in the record books to truly dive into it, but just off the top of my head, I could not remember another run like that had UConn won, which to me would have had them be able to put their name in the conversation for one of the best teams ever because of what they had to do to get through the tournament to win. Michigan, I felt like, had an opportunity to do the same thing, but they had to blow out UConn in the championship game in order for them to be able to etch their names in history because they didn't play the same level of competition. They beat Arizona handily. They beat everybody else handily. Had they beat UConn handily, I think they would have been able to put their name in that conversation. Neither of those things happened. UConn didn't win, and Michigan didn't win big. So neither team is going to be talked about long-term as one of the best ever. The game itself started off rough. A lot of missed shots. It looked like a lot of nerves. Guys not quite finding their rhythms. Both offenses looked stale to an extent. So it's unfortunate. Not in a bad way, just unfortunate that when you get to that game, you want to show out at your best. And both teams kind of talked about, without really saying it, that they didn't quite play their best. So the game itself wasn't as good as it could have been. That doesn't mean they didn't try their best, right? They didn't put in all the effort and energy that they needed to win, which is, Michigan came out on top, and congratulations to them. That was a hell of a win because that was a battle. That was a grind all game from both teams. And Michigan was able to just keep UConn at bay long enough to then break away a little bit there at the end, if you will. I will say, Pinky, my biggest takeaway, and I've been screaming this for years, you and I kind of fall in line with this a lot of the times. If you're looking to fill a coaching position and you're going with a retread, you already failed. You already failed. To act like there isn't an absurd amount of talent in the coaching ranks out there that you can bring in to lead your team to victory, if you truly believe that, then you are an idiot. And I don't like calling people names, but sometimes you just got to call a spade a spade.
I do.
I know you do.
Definitely.
And I love you for it because you do what I can't sometimes. But where I'm going with this is Dusty May came in and led Michigan to a national title in 2 years. What does that remind people of? Oh, the guy that just went out and won the national title in football and Kurt Signetti in Indiana? Now, I understand Indiana and Michigan are different, right? But Michigan has been down for a long time in basketball. You could almost say they're the Nebraska football of basketball. They've got their national titles, but they have not done what they needed to in recent history. Juwan Howard was supposed to be the savior. It failed in an almost epic way. Dusty May comes in, mid-major school, great runs, gets the guys in there that he wants, and everybody's like, they just bought their championship, blah, blah. Everybody can do that. And it's not new. It's just legal now. So let's not act like guys weren't getting paid before. And this is all of a sudden something. No. It's just legal now, and everybody can do it above board.
Let's just be honest. College sports, it's not fair anymore. And that's what people have a problem with. It's not fair anymore.
I disagree with that, Pinky. I think some people just know how to spend their money better.
I mean, some schools just don't have as much money as others. I mean, that's just a fact.
That's fair. I'll give you that. That's fair.
It's not a level playing field, and there's not rules in place that, there's a certain, salary cap per se of how much you can spend.
Oh, that's absolutely true, and we've talked about that.
So it's just not a level playing field. But again,
I see where you're going. Yes.
Life's not fair. So if I don't want to hear that crap.
And I agree. We're not going to listen to it. And we've talked about, I don't even know how many times we've had this conversation where there are very easy fixes to correct the so-called problems in college sports, and the people in power refuse to do them. So quit blaming the schools, the coaches, the players for the system in place. Appreciate whoever goes out and wins the championship because they took advantage of the system in front of them. Now, all that being said, and where I was going with this originally is, go out and get the new guy. Go hire the new hot up and coming. Do not go get a retread. There's a reason they're retreads. There's a reason they bounce around. I don't care if they've got all these wins. They've got all these wins because people keep giving them an opportunity to coach when they shouldn't be coaching anymore. Doc Rivers. So let's not do this anymore. Let's look at the opportunities in front of us. Let's look at, I don't care that Kirk Cignetti is 62 or whatever he is. That is a brilliant mind that did not get an opportunity until later in life. Finally got his opportunity. What are you seeing happen? Winning. Google him. Dusty May. His story is crazy. He talks about how him and his friends, and I don't remember what year it is exactly, but as seniors in high school or in college, somewhere in that time frame, they were going to the NCAA tournament in Indianapolis in the Final Four, and they were going to the hotels that they knew the teams were staying in so they could try to run into a coach to beg for a job. This guy has been on the grind to have this opportunity. And I don't care if he's been on staff, just like Cignetti. Cignetti was on Saban's staff at Alabama. The good guys are going to be on staffs like that. Look at Kyle Shanahan. Look at McVay. The examples are endless. Good coaches are usually 9 times out of 10 going to have really quality staffs. And you should be looking at those staffs to fill the positions of need. And I think Dusty May is a perfect example of why we should quit talking about retreads as the next man up and allow somebody new to have the opportunity to showcase their talent and potential.
I can agree with that. Full show.
Cheers, my good sir. So, overall, I will say this. F the Cinderella. I don't want to hear people talking about it didn't exist. It did, and it does. It was there in the tournament. You just want to call it a mid-major now. That's not what a Cinderella is. The Cinderella is a lower seed advancing. We had a couple of those this year. We had late-game heroics. We had buzzer beaters. The tournament is in a great place. A great place. And anybody that disagrees with that just didn't watch. They weren't paying attention. All they care about is the mid-major winning, and that's not what the tournament's about. It's a fun storyline, but that's not what the tournament's about. So, all in all, it was a great tournament. Congrats to Michigan for winning it all. UConn tried to pull out 3 of 4, but they've been in the championship a bunch. They're on a run. Next year's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And there's so many other storylines we could talk about. I'll cut it there.
All right. What's next, boys?
We're
I know
cutting
Robert.
it. We're cutting it. I got some NBA conversation. I'll try to bring that up on socials. Maybe we'll talk about it next week. Give a little insight. It has to do with the 65 game rule and NBA awards and MVPs and first teams and all of that stuff. We'll discuss.
I mean, we'll be next week. The season's like what? Almost like 2 games left by next week.
Yeah, it'll be wrapped. Which is why I'll probably throw it up on socials actually, but we'll get the conversation going that way. Maybe I'll do my own post. We'll see. On a little video or something. We'll see what happens. But I am not going any further than this because Robert has an awesome topic to discuss, and we did not get to it last week, and I want to make sure it has plenty of room to breathe this week. We got our Masters in. We talked a little bit about the NCAA. We've been slacking on our nonsense a little bit, and I do enjoy the topic and would love to hear what the good man has to say. Pinky, if you got anything else you want to throw out there before then, that's fine. But I'm ready to transition.
So before we get to Robert's topic, which I don't know what it is, so this should be fun. How was the Mario movie?
Oh, I loved it. I actually saw a really great comparison today. That really contextualized it perfectly, and it was the Disney's Ralph Breaks the Internet, Wreck-It Ralph 2, and it was just Disney showing off all of their IPs and everything. Same exact thing with Mario Galaxy. You got Rob, you had Star Fox, you had Mr. Game & Watch, and all these other things, and that just like showcasing like what could be a Smash Brothers universe or just the Nintendo verse or whatever you do with it. There is a lot of endless opportunities that you can go with it. I enjoyed it. I still think I thought the first one was better because it had more of an emotional beat to it. This just kind of, you had more like sequences. It didn't really have a lot
more
of
fan service.
Yes, a lot more fan service in this case. So
I love fan service.
They have completely opened it up for a third one. Big shock. And anything else they want to do with bringing Glenn Powell in as Star Fox and everything. So I'm all for it. I'm on board to see where we go with this Nintendo verse or whatever we're gonna end up calling it. Yeah, no, it was a really fun movie. Definitely go and check it out. I don't know, Caleb, if you're gonna get the chance to see it before in theaters or not, but I know
wife took me on Sunday.
Did they enjoy it?
Yeah, loved it.
Awesome.
I have a question for you, sir, and then we can transition. Or if you choose to answer this and do a post for socials, that's cool too. But my question is, bear with me because I may not be asking this as well as my thought is, so I'm going to try to get this out. But is this kind of Nintendo's way of saving itself? Because I know there's been a lot of talk with the Switch and the Switch 2 and Nintendo not quite leveling up necessarily the same way as your PlayStation and Xbox, and they're kind of falling behind. There's but it's still popular, but it's not. But is this kind of Nintendo's way of kind of moving forward, if you will, to then finance what they're known for? I don't know if I'm asking this in a good way, but do you?
No, I understand exactly what you're asking. That's a very big topic, and I could spend another 30 minutes on that alone. But in a nutshell, the gaming industry as a whole right now does not know what to do.
Okay.
That means Nintendo included. Because it just doesn't have the same... It's not the Nintendo Wii. It's not this groundbreaking console. It doesn't have these groundbreaking games that are like, oh, I have to have this. Unless, like, you're a big Zelda follower or you've been a big Mario person your whole life. Like, there's just not enough content that makes me want to invest in it. Because a lot of the games they came out with on the Switch 2, I've already played. And have had played for years. Now there's the new Donkey Kong game and the new Metroid game, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, but I'm not willing to spend another $600 on a console just to play 2 games when there's not even a full list of other games coming out yet that I remotely care about. Meanwhile, on my PlayStation and my Xbox, I've got the brand new James Bond game coming out. I've got the new pod racing game coming out. Like, there are so many other titles that I'm like, this is something that I would rather play on my PlayStation or Xbox or my PC even, that, again, I only have my Switch for very specific things if I want to get it. Plain and simple. So I know that doesn't quite answer the question, but
No, but you're right. I kind of knew it was a rabbit hole, but I wanted to kind of just throw it out there because I think this is a topic worth maybe coming back around to next week and spending some time on, because
yeah.
I've got so many
Well,
more
you know what?
questions for you.
So preview for next week or in the coming weeks. We'll call this video games to movies or video games to Hollywood, and we'll really break that down and kind of
I like
where it's
that.
at. So we'll come to that next week for sure.
I like that.
All right. So the topic here that Pinky, we talked about it. You didn't really have much to say to it, very briefly, and I was like, just save it for the show. So it's great you forgot about it because you're gonna get a fresh take. I know Caleb's been waiting for this, so I'm very excited. So and SNL did it this weekend perfectly, I think.
Did.
So that'll be coming up in this. So Pinky, the topic of this evening for nonsense is, when is a remake needed, and when have you done it right? One example is you have Star Wars. You have your original 3, 4, 5, and 6, New Hope, Empire, and Return of the Jedi. You don't F with those, period. Then you have 1, 2, and 3, which also now have become to a point where you don't F with those to some degree. Now we also have all of these other shows and things, but again, it's to the point now where Star Wars is coming up on its 50th anniversary. Or no, it's just coming up on its 50th anniversary. So, and there hasn't been a remake, not once, of the original story. But you have things like Lord of the Rings, where in the 70s you had the animated Hobbit and the animated Lord of the Rings and Return of the King. Then in the 90s you get Peter Jackson's, which, I mean, again, animated to live action, kind of different, but that's all you had for content back then. So Harry Potter has now been around for over 20 years. A lot of people still cherish the original films and still think that they're still rather nostalgic and still relevant in today's story. But we're getting a remake anyway. Is it necessary? Is there something that we're getting different out of it? And again, when do you think you've got it right?
Let me ask you this, because this is how I'm kind of thinking about Harry Potter. And maybe this isn't the best way to go about it, but this is how I'm kind of justifying at least that particular situation for myself. And I never read the books. I had a buddy randomly grab me and say, hey, tomorrow I'm going to watch the second Harry Potter movie with my sister. You should come watch it. They're awesome. I'm like, you are out of your mind. That's a kid's movie. He's like, sit down, shut up, and watch this. And he put on the first one. And I was like, oh, these are actually really cool. Okay, I'll go watch it with you. But I never read the book, so I just watched the movies. I have friends, family that read the books, and their biggest critique, kind of like you and I do a lot of the times with Lord of the Rings, there's so much left out.
Mm-hmm.
So I can, in this particular situation, and if everybody did this, I might be okay with it. The fact that they're not remaking it as movies, but TV series, and you can do each book as a season and dive more into the content and give more, for lack of a better way of saying it, detail into the world.
World building.
I think that can go hand in hand with the movies. I think they can elevate each other in that sense, because this isn't a true remake. But when you think about, and now I'm drawing a blank. I had really good examples, Robert, and I apologize. I'm drawing blanks now.
I'll give you
are
one.
movies out
Carrie.
there. Huh?
Carrie.
That's a good one. Carrie will work. Going from what Hitchcock did. It was Hitchcock, right? That did Carrie originally.
No,
Who
I
did
forget
Carrie?
who did it, but Sissy Spacek was the actress, and then you had Chloe Grace Moretz do the one in 2012, and then
No,
now you're
Carrie
getting a
wasn't
new one
Hitchcock,
from
right?
Mike Flanagan. No, that's
Right.
still that was
So-
Stephen King.
Yeah, Stephen King.
You're constantly remaking something
The Stand. That's
The-
been done multiple
and
times.
just redoing it. If you're not going to be 100% accurate to the book, then you better be coming and bringing your own completely new twist on the character. And if you're not going to do that, then it's a complete waste of time
I'll
to
give
even venture down that path.
I'll give you another one, Caleb. Dune. That's been done 3 times, 4 times.
It has. Now, that one's unique, though, Robert, because I think
It's so unadaptable, but it's adaptable at the same time.
And I think a lot of its adaptability has to do with the ability of technology to try and create the world. So
Which is
sometimes
funny.
remakes are good in the sense that the originals told the story and kind of gave people of that time something to love and cherish, but it doesn't hold up because you know what that story is and what you see doesn't match what you envision.
But I guess
For the time.
but the other thing is like I don't see anybody remaking Gone with the Wind. And that's an epic on its own, but I don't see anybody also getting in line to remake The Godfather either, or Apocalypse Now, or some of those other.
I mean, the list could go on for sure.
And that's my point. Or Ben-Hur, or like the original 10 Commandments, Lawrence of Arabia. Like there's so many.
They've done 10 Commandments multiple times.
Well, sure. There hasn't
Technically,
been
there's
one.
only one.
Yeah. The
Only one good one, but yes.
That's okay, fair.
So that's kind of where I'm getting at is in those cases, I would make the argument they got them right. You don't need to redo them. Now, literary works are different, but The Godfather is a literary work. It was done as a book first and then adapted almost immediately. So,
Could we say something will be remade until it's done right, and then it will no longer be remade again?
well, that's the argument that I'm making. Is in my opinion, a great example is you had J.J. Abrams in 2009 Star Trek try to reboot the Kirk and Spock universe, but with a different timeline. While it's a different timeline, it still tried to reboot Star Trek as a whole. When you already had Next Generation and so on, to where you could have just kept doing TV shows, but again, Star Trek wasn't at a great point, and it helped revive it a little, but then they also didn't keep going with it either. So, with that's, in my opinion, a failed attempt.
So here's another question then. Along those lines, when you discuss a franchise, is it really a remake then at that point? Or is it just telling new stories within the same character's universe?
Well, and that's the thing is like technically the Kelvin timeline is its own universe. It doesn't have anything to do with the original other than they met the original Spock because of a time warp.
Sure.
Similar to what happens in the Avengers, which was what we're about to be getting. So like there's a lot of similarities to things, but they're also kind of becoming to a point now where you're kind of telling the same story. Well, burnout is still a real thing when it comes to different things.
Let's just be honest.
It's a cash grab.
Most of these things are only done because they don't have any new ideas.
Well, yeah.
So let's remake things that we can make money on.
Well,
People
but
are going to watch this Harry Potter show regardless.
this is where I champion Star Wars and even like The Boys and some of the other newer shows recently is that they tell their baseline and then they have these other things that are tied into that main story. So you could take the Harry Potter universe and you could do a whole short series on Voldemort's 2 years before power when he starts killing all of the parents and things, and he goes and Neville Longbottom's family gets killed, and then you could tell those stories in the height of Voldemort's power. There are so many other ways you could tell that story without retelling the main story. And that's what I liked with when they did Fantastic Beasts, is it was like, okay, we're getting more depth. We're getting more of the world without it being Harry Potter. Because there's only so much Harry Potter that you can handle before you're just over it.
I think we'll get a really good idea of how available remakes are going to be going forward after the new Narnia comes out.
I mean, I still go with Robert of like, there's like a list of things that the original has some merit, but they didn't really hit. Whether that was like they edited it down wrong, they didn't tell the right story, they just didn't catch us. That like we can do remakes on some of those projects, but certain things that are like just really damn good just don't really need to be remakes. Like I don't need a Lord of the Rings redone. Like the original 3 are awesome.
That's actually where I was just going to go.
And that
that's the original three Lord of the Rings. Even though Peter Jackson took some liberties with the timeline in a sense and kind of moving things around to fit the
and just some fictional events even.
Yes. To fit the timeline of the movies and the pacing. As a whole, he did a phenomenal job adapting what I always saw in my mind when I read the books to the big screen. I think it is the poster child of what all directors, producers, everybody should hope to do if you're going to adapt something. I think Peter Jackson should be the standard.
Now, one of the things about Lord of the Rings is they didn't bastardize it by reducing it to like an hour and 40 minutes. Right?
They're 4-hour cuts.
They're big ass movies. So like he had time to tell a story, but a lot of movies get cut down to 2 hours or less. Right? So that they can get people in and out of the theater and try to show it as many times as they can, versus making a really damn good movie that when people get done with 3 hours, they don't realize they were just in a theater for 3 hours.
Exactly.
And that's one thing, like, while I talk so much crap about them because the stories are just not that strong, the Avatar movies do well with that visually, that it has my attention for 3 hours. It's so visually beautiful, and the world building is great. The stories aren't, but I still put my butt in a seat because I'm like, I want to see what he's done now, because this technology is also coming into these other films later, because James Cameron is one of the film pioneers.
I know this is going to sound blasphemous, Robert. No, I'm just going to say it. I think the original 3, 4, 5, and 6 of Star Wars should be remade at some point. And I say that because, in all honesty, the stories are so good, but the visuals do not hold up over time.
So,
whereas the prequels right now, the prequels hold up really well still to this day. And so when you put the prequels and, unfortunately, the sequels, along with all the other content we've gotten since then, Clone Wars, Rebels, Mando, everything else, the original trilogy does not fit with what the current rest of the product is.
I don't know, man. I think the original
visually
trilogy...
speaking. But see,
I don't I still think visually
I
it holds
know
up.
we grew up with it, right? We're grandfather.
So
But that original 3,
here's the thing, though.
They're a little bit slower. The visuals don't hold up, and this is coming from a huge fan. But I can at least admit that those 3 don't look like the rest of the universe anymore.
But movies are also made by the actors, and the actors portraying those characters,
and that's where the issue comes into play.
On a different level.
So
you're absolutely right, Pinky, and that's where the issue comes into play. While I believe they should be remade, I have a hard time saying it needs to happen because you're not going to get the original actors in those roles anymore. So you'd have to recast and reshoot everything, and that could completely ruin it.
Could you get a fish out of water actor to play, Luke? I think you could. Could you get a guy that
to be fucking Harrison Ford
to be Han Solo? I don't think Harrison Ford's a good dude in reality. I think he's probably a douche. But the guy, he had cool coming out of his pores playing Han Solo in Indiana Jones. So
that's where I was going with all of this. So I'm glad you brought it up, because while I think it should be remade so that it can continue to hold up over time to keep with the quality of everything, where do you draw the line at? It can be better, and we could improve and continue to move everything forward, versus we will never be able to replicate what that was, and we have to leave it alone.
Real quick, Robert, I got one.
You got it, Pinky.
So I think Solo, Star Wars universe, is a really good movie.
I love that movie. It's so good.
I don't think the actor that got to play Han Solo.
I loved him.
No, he did not exude.
You and me are on the same page, Robert. I think.
Thank you.
Is it Edric or whatever?
Alden Einrich or something.
Yeah, I thought he did a great job.
He's so great. I loved him.
It's okay. The guy playing Lando, I think, did a better job of catching.
That's Donald Glover.
Yeah, he did good, but I didn't like the actor playing Han Solo. There was something about him. He didn't capture that swagger. I don't know. He didn't have it. The story's fantastic, though. The movie itself was great. I just was not.
I would have loved to
see
what the original was before Ron Howard got his hands on it.
Yeah.
But I liked whatever they came out with.
I did too. I just now I'm curious, but
so
that's the point, though. Where do you draw the line? What becomes needed
so
for historical purposes, if you will, to continue the run, or what becomes you just ruined it?
And that's kind of where I'm at with it. Like, there are some things here and there that, and I'll send it in the chat later, and you may have already seen it, to be quite honest. But there was a few years back, I can't say how many for sure, but there was somebody that did an edit of the New Hope lightsaber duel of Darth Vader and Obi-Wan. And it's all extended to where, it's all AI and everything, obviously, but it's just a full-on, Mustafar type duel between Vader and Obi-Wan in A New Hope. And it's 8 to 10 minutes long. It's phenomenal. And I'm like, this would have been awesome. So on that side of it, I do agree with Caleb. This would be cool, but then I also don't want the sacredness to be violated because it is so damn good.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be done. And that's why you have all of these other things happening around it. And it makes you go, you have the end of Rogue One and you're like, huh, maybe, but then at the same time, I don't want to lose that human element of it. I don't want it to be redone to that aspect because you captured lightning in a bottle once. You don't need to do it again.
This is what got me thinking about this very specifically, though, when you brought this up a couple weeks ago and I started simmering on it until now. How often do you hear a director, a producer, an actor, somebody within the industry say, we loved what we did, but we were limited by the technology of our time. And so we didn't quite get to put the art out the way we wanted to. And I think James Cameron is the poster child.
He's
for
the
this in Hollywood,
absolutely
right.
took the
Like,
words right out of my mouth, Caleb.
I'm going to take 10 years off and develop the technology I need to finally film this the way I want to.
Yep.
That's the reason that got me thinking, even some of my favorites, eventually maybe I would want to see them redone, because the technology then finally caught up to the vision the director had, and they could finally put it to film the way they had originally intended. And I think throughout history, I mean, I've took a lot of film classes in college, and the backstory of films and cinematography and all of those things that I learned over time tells me that it's far more common that people have to make sacrifices to their art because they can't do it the way they envision it, than being able to put exactly what they want on a film.
Which
and that's what got my wheels turning.
And there's a couple examples here that I'm going to give out that really kind of back this up, Caleb. Is that number one, and I'll be the first to say it, the Hunger Games themselves are better now than what the original 3 were. The next movie that's coming out and the movie that came out previously here are awesome, and they did so much to elevate that series as a whole, and I think the technology itself helped with that to capture some of those things. And you have now Steven Spielberg coming out with an original sci-fi Disclosure Day this year. I mean, you're getting some pretty big epics from some pretty big movie titans. You've got Christopher Nolan, Steven Spielberg, Denis Villeneuve. I mean, coming out with, you got Dune, The Odyssey, Disclosure Day. I mean, numerous comic book movies coming out. Like, it's just, there are so many things happening right now that it's just,
I mean, the comic book movies are a great example too. Go look at 60s Batman.
Oh my
and
god.
60s Superman compared to now. Like, there's a reason it was remade, right? Like,
and that's the beauty of some of those things, and that's why comic book movies now, and that's where next week's topic will be coming into a major place. So this will be kind of a good transition, is that you now have the ability to capture the Cyclop beam. You now have the ability to capture the adamantium claws coming out of Wolverine and so on. You can take the X-Men now from when it happened in 99 and just elevate it to the next level because of the technology. And that's one of the few things that us as comic book people are waiting for, is because the technology is there for it to have the mutants. It's here. And it's not being done because Fox is stupid and Disney better do it right. But it's at a point where it should be done, and that's something that makes sense. But the X-Men stories weren't even, the original movies had nothing to do with the comics anyway.
right.
So there's that aspect of it too, where you have certain source materials. I Am Legend, for one, where it completely violates the original story. So you could remake that and probably do better for it. So, in my opinion, reboots aren't necessarily terrible, but I do think there's a point where you've done it, and it doesn't need to be done. Lord of the Rings is a great example. It shouldn't be redone. And I like with what they're doing with the Stephen Colbert movie that's coming out, this Hunt for Gollum. I'm a little nervous for the recasting of Aragorn, but it's also part of, these reboot things that we've been talking about. Is there's also come to a point where you have to sacrifice that too, and you got to get a different person, and hopefully they stick the landing.
So that being said, then, is anything off limits for a reboot, a remake?
I wouldn't say it's off limits. Again, at the end of the day, if somebody has the passion to do it and the money behind it, it's going to happen anyway. But I also think that you have things that you just don't touch. I would say you don't touch The Godfather. You just don't.
All right, hey, Robert, let me ask you. You guys just brought it up. We kind of talked about it a little bit. We do have the Mutant Saga for Marvel coming up.
Supposedly.
And they've cast Sadie Sink.
It's not official. It's not official. That is not official. 100% not official.
Okay, well, If
She is
she were.
cast as a mutant. Supposedly, Jean Grey is one of those options. We don't know for sure, but it's a very
Storm.
entertaining.
She's gonna be Storm.
Oh my
Guaranteed.
god!
That's a Storm.
I would walk out. To be honest
Cloak
with
that,
you,
bitches.
if they're going to do this and they're going to do it the right way, they already have the perfect way to do Storm with T'Challa's son at the end of Wakanda Forever, because Storm and Black Panther get married and have some things.
Well, I thought T'Challa and Storm got married in heaven.
But T'Challa is dead. So we have his son at the end of Wakanda
Marvel
Forever.
Really butchered that whole idea.
They're not going to recast Chadwick. He was perfect.
I should have recast Chadwick.
But with where we're going right now and Secret Wars, that's going to be fine. We're going to have all the recasts coming up, so it'll be fine. But the Mutant Saga, I'm really excited for. I'm so excited to see James Marsden in the classic blue and yellow X-Men suit. It's going to be great.
But they're all dying though, right?
We don't know.
I hate saying this, but I hate that they're recasting the same people in the same roles.
I've said this a while ago, and this is really what I don't know what happened along the way, but Marvel gave up taking risks.
Yeah.
Chris Pratt in Guardians of the Galaxy was one of the biggest swings they ever took. Paul Rudd as Ant-Man, not too far off, but also a big swing. And they both paid off.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. RDJ for Iron Man was a huge swing at the time.
But he's perfect.
Yes,
but
at the time, back in 2008
yeah.
or whenever that was?
2007, yeah.
That dude's career was
in the
shit.
Because he
for a lot of different
fucked
reasons.
himself over.
And if he doesn't get that role,
totally,
you don't think of RDJ the same way again, probably.
Oh, completely.
Yes, he was perfect for it, but man, how often do you see somebody cast that wasn't perfect for it and it completely takes away from the movie?
Dude, Timothy Dalton in the James Bond movies, those are terrible.
Those are terrible.
I can't watch them.
He was a terrible James Bond. Agreed.
I can't.
So you've been thinking about this a little bit, Robert. What is one movie that you would actually love to see remade?
But a successful movie.
Wait, hold on. What do you mean by like a
So
successful?
Not a movie.
Not a B movie.
I mean, I don't care if it's B or not.
I do.
I'm just kind of looking for.
I want to know a successful movie that you enjoy, that you would be like, I still think it would be great to have a remake of that movie. Because there's tons of movies we know, like the idea is perfect, but they couldn't execute it for whatever reason it was. But what movie actually, what's trilogy, series, what movie is actually a great movie that you would still like to see remade?
That's a great question.
We might have to come back to this one.
Yeah, I'll need to dwell on that for a little bit. Because my initial answer, I still consider a B movie, but that would be the Aragon series. I love that movie, but it wasn't the book.
No. But I would say that like that just.
But that's not a good movie though. Like.
Right. So like that's an obvious one because yes, like the idea and everything behind it is awesome. They just did a horrible job making that.
Do you have one in mind, Pinky?
Of a good movie that I'd like to see remade?
I mean, Assassin's Creed would probably be on my top list. I think that's a great movie.
I don't like. It's okay. I could see they could remake it and make it better. I could absolutely see that one. That's a tough one, man.
Yeah, that you really kind of stumped me on that.
What is a good movie or movie series? You know,
Oh, you know what? No, if they could do it right, because they tried doing it with frickin' Hemsworth and Valkyrie from Marvel. And again, it's a good movie regardless, but I would really like to see a new version and a good version of Men in Black.
Yeah.
I feel like it is a good series that you have so much potential with that you could do anything. I think that could be redone.
You know what? I got one. And the original is so good on so many levels, but I do feel like there's a lot of different ways to take it. Fifth Element.
Ooh. That'd be another good one. That'd be really good to do.
I've got a few of them, and they're all on that cult classic list. But yeah, Fifth Element's up there for me as well, so that's a good grab.
Yeah,
Robert, I think we need to debate this a little more and get a post up for this one, because that's a conversation worth having, I think, with the people.
Yeah.
So we will do that then in the next day or two, you and I, and figure something out. We'll get Pinky involved too. Maybe we'll finally do our first three-way post.
Whoa!
Yeah, buddy. On that note, final thoughts, good sirs, Robert.
Dude, it's less than 2 weeks to Disney, and I'm getting extremely excited, especially with it's in the stars. The mall show's happening. There better be some great Darth Maul merch at Disney when I'm there. So I'm saying I'm super excited. I'm really, really looking forward to this trip. And I keep looking at all the movies that are starting to come out here soon, and I'm like, shit, I'm about to be busy.
Not just movies. I mean, we got mall going. Boys are coming out soon.
Dude, my TV calendar is so booked right now. I don't even know what to do.
NFL draft, NBA playoffs, NHL play. Like it's about to get real.
That's why you're like, Robert, do you want to like draft or do you want to be a moderator? I'm like, I need to be a moderator. I'm watching like 80 shows right now. I'm not even paying attention to NFL shit right now.
I am way behind on my draft.
Ooh, right now. I'm so bad. Yeah, good.
This
good
year
night.
Feels off for us a little bit, doesn't it, Pinky? Feels off a little bit.
Well,
all right.
but I have a lot more other content I'm consuming that is taking up my time. So,
Pinky, final thoughts?
Robert is right. So, hey, everybody, we'll need to throw a post up. Our NFL mock draft, our annual NFL mock draft will be next Tuesday. Caleb and I will draft all 32 teams of the first round. We'll see what happens. It usually doesn't go well.
So we're not doing the video game Hollywood topic next week.
No.
So that'll be 3 weeks from now, because we will not be on the show 2 weeks from now, Pinky.
2 weeks from now, we were not. But thankfully for Caleb, Cody is coming to the show.
The lack of faith this guy has.
I wasn't going to say anything. I did my own show once, too.
I know. He's like, Robert, you're fine. You've been with us for like a week.
He's like, Caleb's going to walk in the dark.
Caleb, you started this with me. I'm going to need you to get a co-host. Like, this is not... Whatever. Our boy Cody's coming. I'll have a good time.
He wanted to come. So, I was like... That's perfect timing, Cody.
I already talked to Cody. He's more than willing to talk an hour and a half in Nebraska Huskers, so we're good.
Oh, jeez.
No, he's not. No, he's not. We know better. He's a Fresno guy.
On that note, I'm just stoked that there are so many things to fill the calendar right now. So you got something you want to talk about? Hit us up. You know how it goes.
We are talking about it.
There's a lot going on. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Mock draft next week. Pinky will be heading to the draft the day after that. Like, there's a lot coming up. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
A lightsaber construction video coming.
See? A lot of good content we got going on. We're going to create a post. 3-way. It's coming. So many things.
Yeah.
Get excited. A lot of good stuff.
Don't mind me. I've been drinking. Don't mind me.
Do not take those moments with your family, friends, loved ones for granted. Whoever you consider to be part of your inner circle, take advantage of those moments. Cherish them. skip us and go hang out with them. That's what we're going to do, and we will never change that. It means a lot to us. Please, 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 if you support us in any way, take that extra second to support us just a little more. Like, follow, share, spread the love. We appreciate everybody. Until next week.
Pinky in the building, reppin' orange and blue. Broncos country, yeah, you know how we do. Hot take so wild, you remember the name. From college ball to the pros, Caleb spitting game. Robert here, the pop culture plug. From comics to racing, pour the drink in the mug. Sports, nonsense and whiskey, yeah, bold talk. Good laughs and a glass in the air. Sports, nonsense and whiskey, right? Kick back, tune in, take a wild side stride.